The 1993 Super Mario Bros. Holds the honor of being the very first Hollywood live-action video game adaptation, with its wildly messy story that's packed with convoluted plot threads and ideas that never quite fit together. Still, between the over-the-top jokes, bizarre action scenes, and accidental comedy, there's something oddly entertaining about watching it all unfold. And even though the film suffered through a chaotic production, bombed at the box office, and was torn apart by critics, it eventually built a passionate cult following that proudly embraces it as a beloved guilty pleasure. What makes it even more fascinating is just how many crazy, wild, and mind-blowing behind-the-scenes facts exist, each one helping explain how this unforgettable cinematic oddity came to be. In this video, we're diving through the production hell of this movie, exploring what went wrong behind the scenes and what the actors felt about it, in addition to script constant changes that led to the final product we eventually had. So sit back, relax, and let's dive in. The production of the movie was notoriously chaotic, and many cast and crew members openly disliked the directors, Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jankel, accusing them of being obnoxious, overly controlling, constantly rewriting the script, and making big changes without telling each other or the rest of the team. Tension got so bad that crew members gave the directors insulting nicknames, printed t-shirts mocking them, and Bob Hoskins even called them the and the cow. At one point, Dennis Hopper became so frustrated with the endless delays and constant changes that he spent nearly 3 hours yelling at the directors, stopping the filming of a scene in Koopa's bedroom. Years later, in a 2011 interview with The Guardian, Hoskins summed up the whole shoot by calling it a nightmare, saying the director's arrogance had been mistaken for talent and that things got so bad their own agent told them to leave the set. Hoskins also admitted he didn't even know the movie was based on a video game until his son asked what he was working on. When Hoskins said the title, his son immediately recognized it and showed him the game on his Nintendo Entertainment System. In his 2007 autobiography, John Leguizamo stated that he and Hoskins hated making the film so much that they often got drunk just to get through it, knowing the final product would be bad, and he believed one of the biggest problems was that the directors wanted a darker, more adult movie, while the studio expected something aimed at children because of the source material. He also mentioned that Rocky Morton once poured hot coffee on an extra's head because he didn't like the extra's costume. Dennis Hopper described working on the movie as a completely miserable experience, saying the production was a nightmare. He explained that the film was directed by a husband and wife team who were both extreme control freaks, and the two of them wouldn't even talk to each other before making decisions, which caused constant confusion and delays on set. Hopper said he had originally been hired for what was supposed to be a 5-week shoot, but because of the disorganized directing and the chaotic production, he ended up being stuck there for 17 weeks instead, more than 3 times longer than planned. He added that the movie went massively over budget, which only made the whole situation even more stressful and frustrating for everyone involved. He later explained his reason for taking the role of King Koopa, saying that his son Henry, who was 6 years old at the time, asked him why he would play such a terrible guy in that movie. Hopper told him, "Well, Henry, I did that so you could have shoes." Henry immediately replied saying, "Dad, I don't need shoes that badly." While filming, Bob Hoskins went through a surprising number of real injuries, starting with an incident caused by John Leguizamo in a chase scene, where the door of a moving van accidentally slammed on his hand and broke his finger. Hoskins started cussing profusely and incoherently, but instantly forgave Leguizamo. And because production couldn't stop, Hoskins had to keep acting with a cast on, and the crew simply painted it pink so it would look like a normal hand on camera. Hoskins later explained that this wasn't the only accident he suffered on set. He said he was stabbed 4 times, electrocuted, and even nearly drowned during various stunts and chaotic moments throughout the shoot. And allegedly, due to drinking on set, John Leguizamo was hit by a car, which resulted in breaking his leg. You can even see the cast in some shots of the movie. In 2016, Rocky Morton looked back on the movie and described making it as a harrowing experience, explaining that he, Annabelle Jankel, and the cast had all agreed to the project because of the original script by Dick Clement and Ian LaFrenne, which focused on Mario and Luigi's complicated but loving family relationship after growing up without their parents. But only a few weeks before filming was supposed to start, the studio financing the movie demanded major rewrites to make the story more child-friendly and comedic. Morton said the new script was nothing like the one he, Jankel, and the actors had signed up for, and its lighter tone didn't match the sets, which had already been built with the earlier, more serious version in mind. He also felt uncomfortable being forced to defend this new script that he didn't believe in. On top of that, he said working with Dennis Hopper was really hard, claiming Hopper didn't seem to understand what was happening during production. Even though Morton found the whole experience humiliating, he still feels proud of the final film, considering how much chaos the last-minute rewrites caused. Dick Clement and Ian LaFreniere originally delivered a script that was so smart, polished, and character-driven that it convinced major actors like Bob Hoskins, Dennis Hopper, and Fiona Shaw to join the project. But the producers soon worried that this version wasn't kid-friendly enough, so they ordered major rewrites and even prevented the directors from having any input on the new changes. The rewritten script still kept some of the earlier sophistication, featuring Mad Max-style desert death races, sharp British political satire, and scenes showing the reptilian citizens indulging in wild, hedonistic behavior. However, the downside of this more adult-oriented and narratively ambitious approach was that it drifted much further away from the tone and style of the original video games, creating a movie that felt very different from what fans might have expected. The Yoshi puppet was an extremely complex piece of animatronics, especially for its time. Even though it stood only about 3 feet tall, the inside was packed with around 200 feet of cable, all of which allowed the creature to perform 64 different movements, from subtle head tilts to detailed facial expressions. Because the puppet was so advanced and difficult to control, it took a team of at least 9 puppeteers working together to bring Yoshi to life on screen. Their combined effort helped make Yoshi one of the most impressive and memorable practical effects in the entire film. An early draft of the script was surprisingly close to the video games, with many ideas that never made it into the final movie. In this version, Bowser only pretends to be human in his first 2 scenes, and the princess character is actually named Hildy, whom Bowser plans to marry so he can obtain the powerful crown of invincibility and use it to conquer the Mushroom Kingdom. Classic game enemies like piranha plants and thwomps appear, and Toad travels with Mario and Luigi as a major character throughout their adventure. There's even a baby dinosaur named Junior who becomes attached to Mario and thinks he's his mother. At one point, Luigi gains raccoon power just like in the games, and one of Bowser's henchmen, possibly an early version of Kamek, tells Mario the famous line, "Your princess is in another castle." The draft also includes a moment where Mario and Luigi sing a song for Bowser, and it ends with Bowser falling into a pit of lava, just like in the classic boss battle. Overall, this early script was far more faithful to the original games than the movie that was eventually made. The Dino Hatton set was created inside an old abandoned cement plant called the Ideal Cement Factory, located deep in the woods outside Wilmington, North Carolina. Instead of building everything from scratch, the production team designed the sets to fit the factory's existing industrial layout, using its huge rooms, metal structures, and gritty atmosphere to shape the look of the city. This same factory had already been used in other well-known movies. It served as the hideout for Shredder and the Foot Clan in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and a few years later it became Top Dollar's nightclub in The Crow. Its massive, worn-down interior made it a popular filming location for dark, stylized worlds like these. Before Bob Hoskins was finally chosen to play Mario, several other actors were considered or even briefly attached to the role, including Danny DeVito and Bruno Kirby at different points, and Cheech Marin, who was offered the part but decided to turn it down. For Luigi, the studio actually thought about casting Tom Hanks, but because his previous films, Turner and Hooch and Joe vs. the Volcano, had not performed well, Executives believed he was no longer a reliable box office star and passed on him. For the villain Koopa, the filmmakers approached big names like Michael Keaton and Arnold Schwarzenegger, but both declined the role. One early version of the script even included a comedic cameo for Bruce Willis, where he would crawl through the air ducts of King Koopa's castle as a parody of his famous Die Hard scenes. All of this shows how wildly different the movie could have been depending on which actors and ideas the production ended up using. In May 2019, a group of dedicated fans running the website Super Mario Bros. The Movie Archive announced that they had managed to buy a rare VHS tape on eBay that once belonged to the film's producer, Roland Joffé. This tape turned out to be a major discovery because it contained several deleted and extended scenes that had never been publicly released. The fans explained that they planned to digitize the footage and restore it so it could be included in a future Blu-ray release, giving people a chance to see material long thought lost. After working on the restoration, they completed the project and on June 1st, 2021, uploaded the finished cut to their website, where it is now available for everyone to watch for free. The de-evolution guns used at the end of the movie were actually just Super Nintendo Super Scope light gun accessories that had been repainted and modified to look like high-tech weapons. The Super Scope was a real SNES add-on, shaped like a large plastic bazooka, so the filmmakers took advantage of its size and futuristic design, adding new colors and details to fit the movie's sci-fi style. The scene where Mario rescues the Brooklyn girls and they all escape down an ice tunnel on a mattress with Goombas chasing them was extremely chaotic and difficult to film. The actors playing the Goombas wore huge, heavy headpieces that kept falling off during the action. While Mario and the actresses were on the mattress, someone on the crew thought the stunt was moving too slowly and loosened one of the wires pulling them. The crew then went to lunch, and when they returned, no one checked the setup before filming the moment where the mattress shoots out of the tunnel. As a result, the performers were launched far too fast and completely out of control. Except for Bob Hoskins' stunt double, the rest of them were the actresses, and at one point one of them nearly fell off, which would have meant a 25-foot drop onto solid concrete. They managed to stay on, but when the mattress hit the ground, it flipped over, causing all of them to slam their heads. Fortunately, aside from some bruises, everyone ended up okay despite the dangerous mishap. And that brings us to the end of this dive into the infamous 1993 Super Mario Bros. This film has a reputation like no other. Some people adore its weird, chaotic energy, and others, well, let's just say they'd rather jump into a warp pipe and forget it ever happened. But where do you stand? Did you love it, hate it, or land somewhere in the middle? Share your opinions in the comments below, and if you enjoyed hanging out and revisiting this wild slice of 90s cinema, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel for more deep dives, reviews, and nostalgic adventures, and don't forget to share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on the fun. Until next time, thanks for watching, stay sharp, and we'll see you in the next video.